So this is definitely not a device for everyone. This is the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G. What a name for a foldable device. Why can't they just call it the Samsung Fold 2? That would be much better. But anyway, this in my time has been an excellent device to use, a real game changer when it comes to just, of course, being hybrid. Tablet meets phone. It's kind of my dream device, and I never ever thought that I would be covering one of these in the channel, but thankfully there are some really great people out there. A supporter of the channel said that I had to check it out. He absolutely loves it. Sent this out to me. It's a loan unit that I've got for just a few days. And here are my thoughts and opinions of the Fold 2 here. The foldable, super expensive phone that is making me quite nervous even holding it like this, just in case I drop or break it or scratch it. Hopefully not. So let me just run you through the design of this one. So you've probably seen lots of videos, so I'll be a little bit quicker on this. So we have a very strange aspect ratio, very narrow screen here on the front, covered with Victus glass, 6.23 inches. But as you see when I turn it on, it's an unusual screen, and you can type and you can use it, and it's really like a secondary kind of screen. Now your layout with the UI, One UI here, of course, will actually be different from the outer to the inner screen, which is great. Okay, it saves it, the layout you use for that, because of course it's two real different uses. This is like using it like a normal phone. Now this particular keyboard I find to be very, very small. So if I just go and type, okay, it's already up here. Really awkward because of how cramped it's in. Now I will probably switch over to using Gboard, but what I do when I review devices is I like to use its stock, okay, how you get it out of the box. So there's no customization here from me, keeping everything the same. Gestures work great. So we have an aluminum frame, well, metal frame, aluminum, I think it is. It goes all around the outside, and it has a texture to it very similar to my Samsung Galaxy Tab S Plus tablet. So they're taking some inspiration from the tablets. Antenna lines. SIM tray only takes 1 nano SIM. That's really disappointing. But it does have eSIM support as well if your carrier does support that for you. Now this is quite thick, okay? Thickness of, well, it's just under the thickness of two phones. Here's the Mi 10 Ultra, you can see, for comparison, which is also quite a thick phone. So to me, it's not actually too bad. I know a lot of people have been hyping or overhyping, I feel, the fact that you can't even fit this in your jean pocket. Well, I think most people should still be able to do so. So it's about 17 millimeters here. It weighs about 290 grams as well. So it's a heavy phone. And the camera does protrude by about 3 millimeters. In fact, just over 3 millimeters. It's quite a bit. So we've got 3 12 megapixel cameras. They are flagship grade. They have optical image stabilization, face detection autofocus, dual pixel face detection autofocus on the main sensor, the ultra wide and 2 times optical, and then the 12 main. So for me, it's still actually pretty good, these cameras, and I'll give you a little bit of a sample later on. So we've got glass on the back here, slippery device. If you drop this, game over. Something is going to shatter, dent, or break. Mark my words on that. So I'm being so careful with this. And of course, along here, Samsung logo here, part of the hinge. But come on, Chris, open the damn thing up. There we go. All right, so this is where the fun starts. This is this is great. Huge screen now that we've got for a phone. But in terms of tablets I've reviewed, this is 7.6 inches. Now, it's got a resolution and a PPI, which is about 336, I think it is off the top of my head. You don't see pixels. It's a very nice screen. Very, very nice. Really quite bright too as well. And I have really no complaints with it. Now, you may see a little bit of flickering coming through currently with my camera, and that's because it doesn't seem to have any DC dimming. Now, what about the crease? So the crease here, you can see it, it's obvious. It bugs me at certain angles. Most of the time when you use the screen, you are using it face on, and you see now face on, when you look at it like this, you don't really see that crease. With brighter images, for example, if I pull down the toggles, you don't even see the crease really, okay? And feeling it with my finger running over it, it dips down by approximately 0.5 millimeter. It's really nothing. And then down the bottom for ports, we've just got a Type-C port, but it does support video out and, of course, their desktop mode as well, which is great. Microphone, loudspeaker, up the top, another microphone, and the other loudspeaker. So we have on this particular phone here some of the best speakers I have heard on a phone. So the 2 side-firing loudspeakers, they've got a bit of bass to them, good mids, good volume. Here's a sample of them at 100% volume. Now, if you do watch a lot of movies or intend to on this particular phone here, it's not great because it's almost the same size as a normal phone screen because of the borders we have here when looking at your typical widescreen content. So I'm not going to show a lot of this, but you can see you're going to have these borders top and bottom, really annoying. So that is a definite con and downside to having such an odd aspect ratio on the Fold 2. Now, what about the performance? This is one of the fastest phones I have used. I think you've done a really good job on the optimization, 120 hertz screen, very, very quick. And the 12 gigabytes of RAM that this has with that Snapdragon 865 is definitely helping with that performance. Really good UFS 3.1 speeds as well that I'll show you, but I won't go actually too deep into benchmarks because it's all pretty much obvious. So we get a lot of bloatware with Samsung, and I have intentionally not gone through and uninstalled lots of things here just to show you the amount of stuff that they put on here. So, okay, some of these things are useful, but just let us decide, manufacturers, what we're going to install. That's why we've got Play Stores. That's why we have apps we can download, not to just cram upon us all these different apps. Now, some of them, like this one, Live Transcribe, this is okay. This app seems to be able to handle my New Zealand accent. It's not too bad, although I've got it set to English United States here. All right, that's not actually that accurate when you look at it. So a lot of things on there, that junk that, okay, I would personally be removing. So performance-wise, really, really good. Now, just to point out too, that around the edges here is going to be a little bit of a dust magnet. There's a bit of a lip here. Now, when you close it too as well, there is a tiny little bit of plastic, but a little lip there, so it's not actually pressing up against the screen at all. You're going to be pretty safe, always on display there as well. Now let's have a very quick look at that fingerprint unlocking speed. There we go. That was pretty quick, and I just pushed it down to try and lay it flat. The camera bump there is making it not sit flat because it's quite a bit of a bump, which is a slight annoyance there with that. So jumping in here to the gallery very quick to open. In fact, I already had that opened up. Internal storage speeds, really, really good. Okay, look at this. Very quick. And there's random reads and writes. So excellent. It's not going to hold it up. Wireless speeds as well, they are exactly the same as the flagships I've reviewed from Samsung and their flagship tablet. Excellent. Although the lowest point here, it's quite away from my router. It should have actually been a little bit faster, but that's just a minor thing. Very, very minor there. Now, this right here is probably one of the best features of this particular phone is its multitasking capabilities are so good. The best on any Android phone that I've tested out, and very similar to even tablets that I use, that we can just fit so many things on screen. So right now you can go split screens, you can go 3, I could have a screen up here on the top. So if you're maybe a business user out there, or you want to have down here your WhatsApp open, you're writing using the on-screen keyboard, and you've got stocks at the top that you're keeping an eye on, you can do it. And it doesn't really bog down too much when you multitask, unless you do something really heavy like gaming. You've got a game open down below, or you're watching videos. And even then, there's actually very good performance from this, helped by that 12 gigabytes of very fast RAM, of course, that it does have. So with these windows here, the things that we can do is we can actually turn them into a floating window. You can go and move over to resize them. You've got lots of different options here. So if I decide that, okay, I can open it up in split screen. No, I want it to be a pop-up. You can do that. You can bring it up and you can adjust the transparency of it as well. So if you don't want it being too much in the way, you can just tone it down a little bit, have it there, and it fully works just fine like a normal app would in there. And it's just really good. What we're able to do here, multitasking on this particular phone, happens to be the best that I have experienced, at least on a phone, and I would rate it very similar to an Android tablet. Now, I don't normally do split screen on a phone, but with this, I definitely would because it's just so doable, having the extra screen real estate and, of course, the speed and fluidity of everything, 120 hertz, really, really good. Well, no surprises here when it comes to the gaming performance, that it is very good. Of course, 12 gigabytes of RAM, ample RAM, more than we probably actually need. The powerful Snapdragon 865, Android's current fastest chip at the time of this video. And the screen, it's very odd, the aspect ratio, and a lot of the new titles do actually work with it well, like Genshin Impact here that I'm showing you, scales fine, even Call of Duty and other titles as well, like Anima that I'm showing you right now. And very immersive. Playing games on this particular phone / tablet is great because of a larger screen and very good speakers on it as well. I really do enjoy gaming on this Fold 2. So the battery life is not actually as bad as I thought it was going to be with such a large screen, and especially at that 120 hertz refresh rate. And it is a bright screen as well. I thought, well, this is not going to make it through a full day. So look at this usage here that I haven't charged it yet. So I got 2 hours here, and we're looking at 4 hours and 37 minutes. So I would say most people will get around 6 to maybe 7 hours, and even over 7 hours of on-screen time, because I didn't actually take it easy on this at all. The brightness was relatively high that I used. I was streaming a lot of content constantly, and you can see I was in social media, YouTube, Amazon Prime Video. So really, I think for this type of device and such a large screen at that refresh rate, the battery life for me is decent, and it will make it through, for most people, a full day of even heavy use. So now I'm just testing it out here using what is called their super fast charging. This is 25 watts, and it's going to take about an hour and 30 minutes, well, just under an hour and 30 minutes to fully charge it. So one of the great things with this particular phone is you can use the rear cameras, but you use the front-facing fold screen, and you're able to shoot excellent vlog quality right here over the 3 cameras. So we get optical and electronic image stabilization, and tapping now I can go then to the ultra wide. Now using the ultra wide does kind of look a little bit weird at times. Like, look at my arm right now, but you can just fit so much more in the shot here, and you're getting rear camera quality, which is always going to be better than the front-facing cameras because, well, they're larger sensors, just better lenses as well overall. And I can even use the 2x optical right here. Not that you'd really want to be this close, but I mean, you have this option, and we've got the excellent sound quality too as well. And I'll just demonstrate walking down these stairs here that the electronic and the optical image stabilization does do quite a good job here. And panning around, we don't seem to see too much of that typical stutter with the electronic image stabilization here. So great for vloggers, this phone, even though it kind of looks a little bit ridiculous, like I'm holding up a tablet when I'm filming this. With this phone, we do have flagship quality cameras. They are 12 megapixel cameras, the 3 on the rear. Take very good typical Samsung photos. This one of the flower looks great. I mean, it's very similar to the Samsung Galaxy S10 Plus I have, or the S20 FE that I reviewed. I think almost the same. Some of the photos tend to have a little bit more noise, I've noticed. Now, this photo I took right here in front of a hotel with a very nice Audi there. If I zoom in, you take a look here, there's a little bit of lens distortion I'm seeing and blurring on the front tire there. Now, I don't know what is causing this, but I've seen this in a few photos. I don't know whether it's just my unit or it's something with this particular phone, but other photos look great. And portraits as well, you can actually flip it around and use the rear cameras. And the night shots also very, very good compared to some of the recent phones that I have been reviewing. So I could go on and on about the shortfalls of this particular device, but we have to just sit back and take a look at just how things have advanced, that we now have hybrid foldable phones like this with a good build quality, great speed, and actually decent battery life. I was expecting very poor battery life out of this, considering 120 hertz inner screen and how large it is, 7.6 inches, that it would have been burnt through quite quick. But no, I can actually make it through a full day with this. Now, one of the biggest things for me is this inner screen. The inner screen is just a little too narrow, if you ask me. Now, I know what Samsung was probably thinking behind making it so narrow is so that people, when they open it, can still actually hold it with a one hand. And that is probably the biggest thing why they did that. So look, you've got one hand, you can get hold of it easy. But I just think if we had a more normal aspect ratio, or 3:2 or 16:10, made it a bit wider, that front screen would be a little bit more practical. Now, me, in my own use, I don't actually hardly ever use the front screen because, well, the inner screen is so much better. But for minor things, for checking a quick message, for answering a call, for placing and taking photos, it's not actually too bad for that. And that is probably Samsung's reasoning and idea behind that. That's, that front screen, they're probably going to say, their designers, well, it's just a secondary screen that you really only should be using just for minor things. They probably didn't expect people to be typing out huge emails on the front screen, and you wouldn't. You'd open it up. But if you want to save battery life, then maybe you can use it. But if you don't want to stand out in public, this is definitely not the phone for it. That if you go anywhere, and people see this, or especially if you open it up, a lot of people that have never seen these foldable phones before, they're going to go, oh, whoa, what phone is that? It draws attention. If you don't want that, then maybe this isn't a phone to have for you. And of course, it is just crazy, crazy expensive. I'm lucky that I've got, of course, a supporter of the channel that sent this out to me to review, and I've been extra careful with it. It's been like treating it like a newborn baby. And it is a real fragile device. And will that screen stand the test of time? I know there's a lot of Fold 1 users out there that will confirm and say, you know what, it will if you take care of it. And that is really down to it. You've got to take very good care of this phone. Cases is a massive problem with this phone. The official case is like 80 euros here and only covers half of it. And it's not included. You don't get an included case at all. So that's another upsetting thing. So really, this I think is for people that like big phones, you're really into your tablets and you just want that dream 2-in-1 device, and you're willing to put up with a lot of compromises that this has. So thank you so much for watching my thoughts here on the Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G from Samsung.